Good morning. Good morning. Hello. And good afternoon if you're joining from another part of the world. And good evening. I'm trying to see which country would actually be in the evening by now. Maybe Australia. Okay. Welcome. It's too early here to play music that's too loud, but I'm going to start with this. And I'm really happy to have you here. Okay. I'm going to be sharing very soon what we're going to be talking about. So just enjoy the beat in the meantime. Hope you can hear the music. I'm just going to share this here. I want to put this on the I joined in a bit early, so let me just put this here. And I have my guest going to be joining in very soon. Hello, great to have you here. I have a guest coming up very soon, but I'm just going to put up the topic and I'm going to pin that, and then we'll jump right into what it's going to be about. So I'm really happy to have you here. I don't know if you can hear the music. It's going to do something very mellow because it's just a simple, cool morning today. Let me see. I have him here. Okay. All right. I want to pin that here. Cool. All right. So it's now time and it's 11. And what I'm going to do now, I'm going to send a reminder. I'm going to send a reminder to my guests, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about what we're doing today. So it's great to have you here. And for those of you who get to join in or watch this later, we'd love to have your feedback and hear from you. Okay, so I started off with this music, and today I have a really special guest who has actually become almost like a brother, friend, mentor, coach over the years. We've known ourselves for quite a bit of time, but in the past few weeks, we've taken up time to have this really deep conversation, which has given us more insight and perspectives about each other, which have been very, very different and very unique. So my name is Emma Mopashi, and today we're going to be talking about personal brands. We're going to talk about personal brands. Oh, I just saw that I made a mistake in that title. I'm going to put that here. Yeah, let me just remove that there and see. So we're going to be talking about discovering the Opashi brand, personal brand, and we're going to talk about personal branding in general. And we have a super special guest, which is a great honor to have him even take out time for this conversation. Now, I want to pin this topic here. So that you can have this. So discovering the Opashi brand with Tola, Alabi. I want to just put that up, and then I am going to be bringing up my guest, and we'll jump right in. As I said, if you're watching this later or you are catching up with this, please still feel free to put in your comments, share your comments, have your questions also, and we look forward to more. All right. So Tola is here, and I'm going to bring him right up. Okay. So I'm looking forward to this conversation. And we're digging in quite deep and all that. So thank you for being here. And let me bring in my guest. Drum rolls wherever you may be as I bring in Tola Alabi himself. All right. With Tola. So I'm bringing him up now. I'm really excited to have Tola. Yay! Tola's here.
Hi, how you doing?
Good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
Fine, thank you. Fine, thank you. You see, I always like this coordination. Are you wearing cream by any chance? Is that creamish whitish?
What I'm wearing?
Yeah, is that creamish white? Are we matching colors by any chance?
Yeah. It seems so.
Unplanned.
Kind of seems so right now. So we've like color coded this right now, haven't
I
we?
know. Look at that. That's really good. Okay, so how's it going on your side? What's new on your side?
Great. Things are going good. Yeah,
Okay. Are
great.
the kids
Yeah.
on holiday yet?
No, no, no. They just came off midterm actually, so they just got
Oh,
back to school this week. Yeah,
okay. Well, I guess
so
better
that's
for
the one.
parents. I guess the longer it
Yeah,
gets,
yeah,
better for parents. Better for the parents that they're away in school. Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. So welcome to our fantastic guests. A lot of people joining in, and hello to you all. It's really great to have you here. So today we're actually having like an open conversation. I was supposed to have a cup of tea, but I forgot it downstairs. So we're having this conversation, very light conversation, and sharing a bit of insight and in-depth kind of almost revealing, a lot of stuff. We've had these talks. We've been exchanging voice notes. We've had Zoom sessions, and what I mentioned to Tola that what I'm refreshing, and I'm repurposing my personal brand. And I also have someone here, Rotimi, who's today is also his birthday, and I'm just seeing him saying hi. So we've been having this conversation, and it's interesting how everything is merging and beginning to make sense. And I thought, who else, who better to have this first conversation with than with Tola himself. So as we dive in right now, so Tola, we're looking at personal branding. Okay, a few years ago, this was something that people are like, please, who is this person? Who do they think they are? What are they doing personal branding for? Beg, let's just deal with your organization gingerly, So what is personal branding, and how has it become a thing in the first place? How has it become a thing, or has it always been there?
Well, yeah. But the thing is that branding has always been there.
Okay.
You understand? It has not been something that has not been um, something that was not officially recognized as a thing. But when we look at
Ah,
branding, basically it's an opinion about something. You understand?
okay.
Your opinion about something is how you brand it. You understand? So when you see something and it elicits an emotion of maybe trust, happiness, sadness, anger, that is your branding of that thing. You understand? And that has always existed. As long as
Sure, right?
man had brain, there's always been branding. But now, people have been more intentional about it. And that's why we have what we call corporate branding, because people wanted to sell a service and stand
Yeah.
out in the market. Um, and that has come like decades back, you understand? And well, when it comes to personal branding, that
Yes.
also has always existed. You understand? We've always
Mhm.
had opinions about people, about individuals. We've always had it. It's not a new
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
But now people have become more intentional about the opinion they want people
The
to have
word
about them.
intentional.
And
Mm-hmm.
that's where personal branding comes in, where people want to be in control of how they are perceived by other people. So it has always been around.
No, I think I love that word, that intentional, So that means whether you say it or not, whether you say, listen, I'm a personal brand, or I'm somebody, or I'm nobody, or whatever, the people already have an opinion about you. So you might as well take control of your own reality. Is that like the kind what you're saying, right?
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Okay. Now I think this is very interesting. So what happened was that I had these conversations. I jumped in the call and I told Tola, and I'm like, you know what? I want to be more intentional with my personal brand. I want to actually share my story. I want to get people to know a bit more about why I do the things that I do. And we had this, and then we decided, you know what, let's just pick a date, because we already said that July would be when we're going to start the unveiling. So should everyone be or have a personal brand? Does everyone have the right to be a personal brand? Does everyone like should wake up and say, yes, me too, I'm a personal brand? I mean, must it be their name, or what do you think?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I do think everyone should, because you have it already. So you
Really?
might as well. Yeah, as in, we all have that. We all have the perception that people have of us. We might as
Okay.
well just we might as well just control it. You see, I was talking with a group of
Uh-huh.
people, and I told them about
I
when
see.
my second son was born.
Yeah.
See, I happened to be there. I was there in the labor room with my wife, the delivery room with my
Wow.
wife,
Very
and
brave.
yeah, and immediately he came out. I
Uh-huh.
told my wife, "Oh, he looks like his sister. He has his sister's eyes." You know, at that point, he had not spent up to 2 seconds.
True.
here in the
Uh-huh.
outside world. And I
Uh-huh.
already had an opinion on him. And that day, people were coming to the hospital, and people were like, "Oh, he has your eyes, he has your ears, he has
Uh-huh.
your feet, he has your hands." You see, they were already branding him. He was a victim of other people's opinions. You understand? He didn't
Uh-huh.
have a choice. And that was at a few hours old. He was already
Whoa.
being branded. You understand? So I feel everyone has it. And I think it's just important for us to be intentional about it. It's very important for us
Fantastic.
to be intentional about it, because it just helps us to be aware of those things that we need to emphasize, those things that we need to edit,
Ah,
those things that we need to correct about ourselves. And it also makes us appreciate ourselves as people more when we are more intentional about our
fantastic.
personal brand.
I think that's now I like that. So how do we become more intentional before we dive in and talk about from my perspective of some of the things that I'm looking at doing. So we're saying so everyone should consider, where do we even begin? If people are
Mm.
now like, hey, me too, Seth, I want to, I'm thinking about it. And I think, does that mean, when I'm talking about personal brand, does that mean that I have to be doing it in a business way, or is just me
Mm.
being intentional about me as a person? Must it
If
be
you've been,
towards a business, directed towards business, or so?
yeah, and I think that where people get it confused.
Yeah.
We've had sessions before this,
Yes. Yes.
and one of the things I said was, um, where people miss it with personal brand.
Yes.
When you said you wanted to like start developing your personal brand,
Mm-hmm.
um, you know, I told that the first hurdle we will need to overcome is
Throw
not
away.
confusing SRC with Opashi, confusing a corporate brand, because a lot of people feel like they take the same approach to
Yes.
registering a business and starting a corporate brand to
Hmm.
how they're going to start up a personal brand. You
Yeah.
understand? So we have that especially if you see a lot of people that are intentional about their personal branding.
Yes.
A lot of them are people that have come from the corporate entrepreneurial world.
Of course. Uh-huh.
So they've been soaked in that. Someone like you understand? You've been running your company for years. So you see, when you want to start something else, you kind of take that approach, because that becomes the model. So you kind of think, oh, what would the logo for my personal brand be? What will my colors be?
Yes,
What will
I
my
have a
mission
logo. Yes,
statement
I have
be? You
colors.
understand? How will I register it? You understand?
uh,
We kind of start building it like corporate brand, but it's not. It is not. It's
mm-hmm.
totally different. The aim is different. And that's where, you said something about business just now. You see, when you have a corporate brand,
Yes.
a corporate brand, for both of them, both the corporate brand and the personal brand, what you're trying to build is trust.
Yes.
But the thing now becomes trust to what end? The trust to the end of a
Mm.
corporate brand. Why you're building a corporate brand? You're building trust to the end of selling a product,
Yeah.
selling a service. Nobody builds a corporate brand not to make money. You
Just for the fun.
understand? So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
never for the fun of it. So you build trust in the mind of people so that they can say, you know what, we are buying from you. With,
Excellent.
with the personal brand, it's pretty different. You are building trust with the aim of connecting. You understand?
Thank
So,
you.
so it is
Uh-huh.
not about business, and that's where a lot of people corrupt their own
Connecting
personal brand.
right there.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's
uh,
towards connecting. So you are building trust with people so that they can connect with you more. They can be
yes.
more vulnerable with you. They can communicate with you more,
Yes.
and that way your opinion now matters to them. You understand? So you're not trying to sell anything. So when people try to say I'm
Fantastic.
building a corporate brand so I can sell my book, no, no, no. Then you're building a personal brand so I can sell a book. There's no longer a personal brand. You're building a corporate brand. You understand? So
Mm-hmm. I see.
I
It's
feel
uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
with
Mm-hmm.
your personal brand, you must put business aside. A lot of people don't want to hear this, because
Mm-hmm.
for them the personal brand is about selling something. It's not about that. It's about impact. It's about connection.
And building
Now
those connections.
where I'm
Mm-hmm.
building that connection and forming a tribe. You understand? Now, what you can now do with that is, when you have that connection, you can divert it to a corporate entity. You understand?
Yes.
Whereby
Yes.
you're still connecting with your tribe, but then they come to you and say, "Oh, you know what? I'm having this issue with my kids and stuff like that." And you can say, "Oh, there's this book that I read. You might want to
Yes.
buy this book." You understand what I'm saying? Or you might want to,
Yes.
"Oh, I have this on my website, on the SRC website. There's this stuff we are selling." It's never on your own personal brand. You understand? Your personal brand is always towards building connection, pure connection.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? Not about business. It's not about business.
Interesting. This man has now scattered our, please, we want to make money, like, and all
No,
that.
no.
So personal brand. And now I think this word you've just said now, this personal branding is actually about connection. I think that almost summarizes like this whole conversation, because this has been what one of the first things I know when we spoke with you, and even when I also spoke with Richmond, one of the first things we said, why do you want to be more intentional? I was just like, I want to connect more people. I want people to know a bit more about why I do the things that I do. And of
Mm.
course, I was mixing it up. I mean, it's going to be really hard to some extent, rubbing off some things of the corporate life.
Yeah, yeah, it's going to be very hard.
And yeah, it's going to be a bit hard, but we're learning and all that. But I still feel some people just feel that I don't know, don't you think it's conflicting? What if your personal brand is a bit different from your actual, like what you do in the corporate world?
Yeah,
How do you
it
now
should be.
balance that? It
It
should
should
be.
be. It should be.
Okay.
Because,
Okay.
the reason why we get intentional about really establishing personal brand, just like
Yes.
our first conversation, the first session we
Yes.
had, when I asked you, why are you doing this thing? And you kept on using the word, I want to express, I want to express, I want to express. You see,
Mm-hmm,
we
mm-hmm.
all have that. And I went through that, you understand, where every person wants to express themselves on a freer level. You want to express yourself freely.
Yes.
And you
Yeah.
see, like to me now, you see, the first time you met me as a graphic designer. You understand? So I
Yes.
was designing logos and branding for companies. But you see, there was more
Yes.
to me than that. You see, I was a
Uh-huh.
graphic
Uh-huh.
designer. I was someone that had interest in music, hip hop music. I am a Christian. I love animals. I
You
love
say hip
football. I
hop
love
music. I
Manchester
didn't know that.
United.
How?
You see, you
Tola,
didn't
hip
know
hop
that.
music.
You see, but you see, I want to express myself. And sometimes when you're in that corporate
Mm-hmm.
cage, there
Mm-hmm.
are some
Mm-hmm.
things that are not just brand appropriate that you can't just bring to the table. So you see,
Uh-huh.
there's more to you, and that's true.
Oh, I
You want
love
to express
that.
yourself more as Mopachi the mother, Mopachi the wife, Mopachi the person that loves baking. But you see, there is this cage that the corporate environment has made for you, which makes you somebody, an education person. So you
Yes.
see,
Yes. Yes.
you can't bring your whole self to that front. For people just that's not just appropriate. That does not
Uh-huh.
seem like some people want to talk more about their faith, but
Yeah.
because of their corporate brand, they can't bring that to the fore. You can't bring that to the fore because
Uh-huh.
it seems politically incorrect for you to
Yes.
start
Why am I
talking about your faith.
to this? Yes. Yeah.
So this need to want to express yourself more freely is why we have corporate brands. It's just like when you have a bird, you
Personal
can have a
brand.
bird, yeah, a
Uh-huh.
personal
Uh-huh.
brand. When you have a
Uh-huh.
bird, you can have a bird in a cage. A lot of people
Yeah.
have birds in cage, and
Mm-hmm.
the bird looks good in a cage. It retreats in a cage. It looks good. It brings some warmth to the home. But you see, the
Yes.
bird wants to fly. It can't fly in a cage.
Can
The
fly
bird
as
wants
much.
to build a nest.
Yeah.
It can't fly as much in a cage. It
Mm-hmm.
wants to build
Mm-hmm.
a nest. It can't do that in a cage because it needs to go out and pick sticks and stuff. The bird wants
Yes.
to go out and hunt and catch worms. You understand?
Yes.
That is what
Yes.
makes it a bird. You see, but and when we look at that bird scenario, when a
So
bird
interesting.
goes out to fly in nature, that's its
Yes.
personal branding, being itself. You understand?
Woo!
It does two things that might be that might seem like sometimes in the air, sometimes it's on the ground, and
Yes.
it's
Spinning
not
around,
caged by
having
yes.
fun.
But when it's in the
Ah,
cage, it looks nice. It's serving a function of
beautiful.
serenity, of warmth, and stuff like that in the house. You understand? But then it's not feeling its fullest potential. So that's why people form personal brands in the first place, is to for more expression. So
Whoop,
if
whoop.
you have a personal brand that is not allowing you to express
Uh-huh.
yourself as you
Uh-huh.
should, then you see it's now becoming more corporate. Then you're now thinking, oh, I shouldn't say this. There's nothing you cannot say as a personal brand because a personal brand is built on
I love it.
vulnerability and expression.
I think this is just so fantastic. I mean, one of the words I used when I spoke with you, I said this is so liberating, because sometimes you're like, okay, let me not talk about this. Let me, let me just leave this, and then, but you're a person. I mean, I'm a person. There are things that
Mm-hmm.
I want to express, and I feel like it benefit people's lives. Yesterday was our 24th wedding anniversary. My husband and I, and people are calling and say, oh my god, I need to talk to you about marriage. Oh, I just got married, and I'm like, and so normally I would have been like, yeah, I'm not like a marriage counselor, for God's sake. you know
Mm-hmm.
but the thing is that this is something that I love doing, because I think many of us or all of us were products of the relationships we've all been in, and the, you know, that we've built, and the ones that have gone well and the ones that haven't gone well. So relationships, for me, are like the core of everything that I really do. And I think it's really important that people learn, or are trained, or are encouraged, or are guided on how to use and maximize the relationships in their lives, you know. So people sent me DMs, oh, I'd love to talk to you a bit more, or, you know, and all that. Oh, I'm having issues, and I'm going in my head, yeah, this is my wedding anniversary, you know, but I still responded, and I love it. I want to be able to help people. I want to be able to express my own experiences, you know, through them. And so those are things, yeah. So I think that word, a personal brand, is like that analogy of a bird, you know, being let out of a cage and flying, and just flying and soaring and doing what you're actually created to do. I think that is fantastic. Honestly, that is really beautiful. So one of the things we spoke about, you know, we mentioned about everyone's story. You know, we spoke about my story, and yeah, I think you're probably like the, I don't know, maybe you're sharing the top 10 of the people, humans in my life, that apart from my family, probably that know like that level of detail and all that. So what is it about our personal stories? What is it about people having a story? Everybody has a story, you know. And at some stage, you know, most people I watch or you listen to, many people have those stories where they all grew up in, you know, everybody has a story. I grew up in I don't know, the ghetto at Jegunle or whatever, and then I didn't do this, and then, you know, so people have those stories. I don't have that kind of story. I don't have a story where I grew up in the gutter or anything like that, or, you know, I have people that have those stories, and then I rose to this. So sometimes I'm always like, wow, okay, my story is not even half it's not half as deep, you know. But I think people's stories are what grounds them, and then it's like a platform for you, you know, to express yourself in this personal brand, you know. So what is it? How do people connect with their story? Or I don't know, is there a way to tell your story? What is it about having a story and linking it to a personal brand?
I think a story. I think people really underrate the value of their personal story.
Okay.
A lot of people do not harness it enough, and because we always have this thing in our mind that our stories are not interesting enough, your story is your biggest gift. The biggest gift you have as a person is your story. The biggest gift you can give to the world is telling your story, and telling it the way you should say it, which means telling it in a truthful way. No embellishment, no lies. You understand? And you know, like we were talking about, you know, the first time you sent me a story, you know, one of the things I told you to do was go and record your story, and you sent me like a 6-part voicemail, which was one of the most, I told you, was one of the most interesting things I've listened to this year. It was really interesting, and you didn't know that. You understand? You just thought it was you. You understand? It was you being yourself. But you see, to a personal brand, to build a personal brand, there are 3 elements. There are 3 key elements that you must have if you're going to build a strong personal brand. You must have a story. You must look at your story, your tribe. You must be able to identify your tribe, and you must have your medium. Those 3 things: your story, your tribe, your medium. Your story, your tribe, and your medium.
Okay.
So you have a story, which is where you started, what happened between when you were born and where you are right now. Some things happen, and you must be willing to say those things. You see, if you're building a personal brand, you can't keep your cards to your chest, or else you won't connect. It's hard to connect with people when you
don't even know where
they're private. Yeah. You see, one of the first things about being a personal brand is that you must be open. To some extent, you must be willing to be open, and which is the biggest problem a lot of people have, that allowing themselves to be vulnerable. You know, we hide those within reason. Yeah, within reason. But you see, sometimes our ugliest stories, the ugliest part of our stories, are the ones that people connect with the most.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that inspire people the most. You understand? Like when we talk about Mandela, you see, we talk a lot about his time in prison. That wasn't a beautiful time in his life. You understand? But if he hit that time, those 27 years in prison, would we still have the same impression of Mandela? If it was like, oh, I don't want to tell anybody I went to prison. You understand? The impression will be weakened. His story will be weakened. Because sometimes the ugliest part of your story is the most relatable. And so, but we don't harness it because we feel we're scared to be vulnerable, and it's hard to be vulnerable. It's hard, and that's why I asked you to record your story. You understand, in private. It gets
Yes.
easier to tell a story once you start telling it. You understand? You tell it to one person, it might be someone you really trust, your husband, your child, a
Yeah.
very close friend, but you tell the person, and the person gives you feedback about how the story has really helped them. Then maybe next time you have the chance to tell it to 6 people, and then
Yeah.
16, and then 60, and then 600, and then
Woo!
6,000. You understand? But then you begin to own your story. And I
Yeah.
was telling you about a lot of people that kind of focus on it. The reason why we like struggle with our corporate brands, those of us that
Yes.
have businesses, is
Yes.
because we don't let out that personal brand enough. The personal brand is that machine that can help people to say, I
Oh,
need to work with MM. You
yeah.
understand? There
Yes.
are other people in that space, but
Yes.
MM is the one for me. I connect with her because you know what? She didn't do well in school. Because you know what? She struggled for a while with whatever, with
Yeah.
acne. You understand
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
She struggled with her weight. You
Mm-hmm.
understand? So
Mm-hmm.
just feel like it's not about what they can do. They can all do it. MM and 5 other people can do the job.
Yes.
But I'll
Yeah.
go for MM because I feel like MM understands me.
And I connect
The
better.
more I
Mm-hmm.
connect better, you understand with. So, but that only comes when MM tells a story. If MM doesn't tell a story, then nobody connects with MM. You understand? And I know when we're talking about, I was talking about someone like Pamela Harris. You
Yeah.
understand? Who is
Yes.
the vice president? See, she has the credentials, academic, political credentials,
Yes.
to be the vice president. But at that stage, when the election was going on, nobody really cared about the credentials per se. They cared about the story.
Up
So
till
like,
now, I
oh, she's
don't
this,
care about
yes,
credentials.
she's the child of an immigrant and stuff. And people could say, oh man, she went through the struggle. I understand. She understands me. There's a black person in her. The same thing with Barack Obama. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Good education, good qualification. But then what do people care about? The guy, his father, Kenya, came to United States, married. Like,
Yeah.
oh, the Kenyans were like, this is our brother. You
I'm
understand what
telling
I'm
you.
saying?
Exactly.
But if that story was never told, then you see he will be struggling in his corporate life when the access, the key is what's happening in his personal life. So you see, your story is so good, it's so interesting. And when I heard this, I was like, I wish a lot more people could hear this. But
Yeah.
it's now up to you to now be confident in your story and say,
Yeah.
you know what, I will, and I would say with reason, where you can say, I would share with these people I trust, and from there I
Yes.
would intentionally move on to more people and intentionally move on to more people. And that's why we don't connect with our leaders here in Africa. Because you see, when our president is sick,
Anything about them.
nobody tells us anything. He went abroad to strange. But there in the US, when the president is sick, he has a cold, they tell you he has a cold. He has diarrhea, they tell you he has diarrhea. You understand what I'm saying? They tell you everything. He becomes a person. Do you understand?
Yes.
And they become more
Yeah.
empathetic and sympathetic towards him. But
Very
ours,
true.
because we don't
Very
know their
true.
personal story, it becomes very hard to connect. And that's where connection is very, very important to help you as a personal brand.
Fantastic. So I'm loving a lot of love here. People are saying, of course, Tola Alabi is fantastic. Some people are sharing their own. I'm trying to see someone put here. I've started I've started mine on YouTube and linked it to my adult profession. So someone is telling their own story already, and I think these words are just like words in, like should be cast in stone or gold, actually. So my story, and because of this conversation, I've tweaked a lot of things the way I introduce myself too, because it's a journey. I'm still on a journey. So, I mean, no one is ever there. You're never like really arrived, but it
True.
also gives me a lot of background. One of the things I am also very passionate about, I'm very passionate about aspects of diversity and things like that. And I love meeting people of different races. I thoroughly enjoy traveling. And that's because, I mean, we grew up traveling. I've
Mm.
visited and lived in almost like 19 cities, and I still really enjoy traveling. So there's some things that I've been very interested in, but I've been like, oh, okay, what am I doing all that for? This is what I do. I'm an education consultant, so that shouldn't count. That shouldn't matter. So
Yeah.
recently, and interestingly, I had to introduce myself on a platform, I think over the weekend. And so the way I introduced myself, I said, oh, I enjoy using my journey as an edupreneur and a business leader, a global event convener, a travel buff, and a family enthusiast to help you maximize everything you've got, just to help you stand out.
Yeah. And
And
that's so interesting. That's such an interesting introduction. You understand? It's so unique. You understand? It is.
And so for me it's like, oh, good. I don't have to actually sound all that this thing. I mean, so I'm not confined. I'm not in that cage. I'm so many things really. I mean, like when I speak people and I say, oh yeah, I speak French and I speak Spanish. They're like, huh? How? How do you do that? I plan to learn Arabic. I don't know, some stage in this life. Um, I plan somewhere to learn Arabic. So I'm like, you know what? I can actually do anything I want. Really, I really can. I can do a lot of things that I want, and I really want to, as I said, help people connect with my story so that they can also find ways to find that help. I can help them maximize. I know that one thing for me, I'm like a wealth of ideas. So most times we have like coaching sessions. Is the grace of God to hold back because I'm like an idea generator. I can come up with things for people, and people who are runners who can run with these things, they can run with them, and they normally they can succeed really well. So how do we now? Okay, so begin. So we all have our story. We tell our stories, and people, of course, will be like, some people are there like, what is wrong with this one? Or
Yeah, 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 yeah. While you were talking just now, you know, we get so bothered by the container. You understand? We get so bothered by that container.
yeah,
So you see, one of the insecurities we have as people is,
yes,
what do I tell people? How do I tie all this together? So it's so much easier to say, I am a doctor, I'm an engineer, I'm an architect. You understand? It's so much easier because there's a container there. But
yes, yeah.
nobody's ever 100% a doctor, 100% an architect,
You have a
100% an
life.
engineer. You, ha-
You
you,
have
you
a
are so
life.
much more. It's just like looking at a rainbow and saying a rainbow is blue. A rainbow is
Yes.
not blue. You understand? I can't say a
So many
rainbow is yellow.
colors.
It's so
Yes.
many things. So we focus on those containers, but we focus on the expression per time. But we should more focus on the core. And see, when I was listening to your story, you see,
Yes.
you were telling me some things in our first conversation we had,
Yes.
and you were saying you were really into Africanness and people owning their Africanness and being proud of it. The first
Yes.
time you told me, I was like, I've heard that before. It just
Yes.
sounds generic. Everybody is proud of Africa. But when I heard everybody's proud of Africa in quotes, you understand, I'm proud to be African.
Yes.
But
Now.
but the truth is, when I heard your story and you told me how you grew up, where you grew up, it made sense. It made sense why Africanness was a thing for you. It made serious sense. And now when you tell me about Africanness, I lean into it more because I know where you're coming from. It's not abstract to me.
It's not just
Those
like
words are words I've heard before, but sometimes when you say it out of context, which is out of your story,
yes.
it it becomes abstract and I don't relate. And I just go to bed and I don't think of what has told me anymore.
Uh-huh.
But when
Uh-huh.
I know story and I know where is coming from, it makes sense to me. It makes sense to me. I know your journey. So you see,
Yeah.
sometimes we need to focus on the core of who we are, not the expression. The expression is I'm a doctor. The expression is I'm an architect. But the core is you are an equiper, like
Yes.
you're a catalyst, you are an influencer. We are comfortable with influencer, but we're not comfortable with other cores. So people can call themselves I'm an influencer, but people
Uh-huh.
can say I'm an equiper. They're like, oh, what does that mean? But
What
you
does
need to
that
start
even mean,
saying it.
stuff?
Yes, because
True.
years ago, influencer didn't make sense to people, but now people can say I'm an influencer. You
True.
understand? Because we have social media. So there's some people that call themselves influencers that are not influencers. You
Yeah.
understand? They are sages. They might be sages because they say really smart, intelligent stuff,
Ha.
but they might think they're influencers because they're gathering people. No, you
Okay.
understand? People are attracted to you because you say really wise stuff.
I have to
Some
find my
people
own now.
are
See this man. I've now added that one now. Sage influencer. Okay, I want
some
my
people
own
are
word now.
some people are builders. You understand? They're
Uh-huh.
they're good at building stuff. You understand? You have an idea, they can build it. You understand? They're builders. But see, we don't feel comfortable saying those things. We're like, what's a builder? I kind of feel irresponsible when people ask me what do I do. I
Yeah.
tell them I'm a sage, and they think, this guy is kind of cuckoo. You understand what I'm saying? Because it doesn't just fit the model that we are used to. But
Yes.
there's so much more to us. Some people are analysts. You understand? They're analysts. They're able to analyze things and really get into the core of things and
Yes.
make sense out of it. You
Yeah.
understand? So that core that we should get to build as a personal brand, not the expression. The expression can change. The expression always changes. You
True.
understand? It evolves.
True.
But that core is always the same. You understand? And the core can be a potpourri of things. You can be an
Yes.
analyst and a
Uh-huh.
sage. You can be an
Uh-huh.
analyst, sage, and a builder. But focus on the core. You understand? And
Yeah.
when we focus on the core, we see more opportunities. But when we focus on the opportunity, on the expression, you see fewer opportunities. So you
Yeah.
think, I'm an architect, so people should be talking to me about houses. You understand? But actually, you're a builder. So what you can do is you can even help people build things that are not houses. So you see everything as an opportunity to help build. You understand? So
Fantastic.
you see yourself as a school teacher, but actually you are a sage. You understand? So it's not your gifting is not only to teach people in the classroom. You know, you can teach someone about marriage. You can teach someone about
Yeah.
cooking. You can, you know,
Yeah.
so we need to find out what that core is. You understand? And like you were saying, like you need to find yours out. It is there
Yes.
already. It's there already.
Yes.
And that's why when we're thinking of the topic, you know, you kind of
Yes.
sent me some topic. I said unveiling your
Yes.
Memopashi brand. And I said no, we're not unveiling, because unveiling kind of
Even
means that
there.
it's a done
It's
process. Yeah,
sincere.
you're done with it, and we're just pulling
Yes.
the ribbon
Yes.
off it, or the
Yes.
cloth off it. We're discovering,
Yeah.
because it was there from the day you were born. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's there already.
Mm-hmm.
We are discovering every single day. And with personal branding, we are always at the discovery stage. Always. It's one of those things. With corporate branding, you might be at a stage where you're established. With personal
Yes.
branding, you're always discovering. But you're discovering
Love
in the
that.
open a lot
Mm-hmm.
of time.
Mm-hmm. In fact, first, before I forget, I want to shout out to that Pro App Design says it's gonna if I teach in Spanish, she's going to teach me Arabic.
You see, that's connection you made with someone just now.
So
And it was
I'm
just
gonna
by
take
saying
him
we
up on
love,
that. Both
yeah.
of us will be on Duolingo learning also. I think that's really sweet. Also, thank you for that. So I think it'll be nice. What I'm going to do is just share a little bit about my background. Like with those people who are listening, and so they know where I'm coming from. Okay, and so I mentioned that I mentioned me being an edupreneur. Gosh, I decided to use a new brand of mascara today of all days. Now look at it, it got into my eye. But apart from that, okay. So welcome once again to everyone who has been so actively participating, and the lovely comments. And you know, and Tola has been here. So for me, as a human, my name is MM, and I'm a human. um, of course, I am at the moment. I'm a mom of 3 grown adult children, a wife, and I'm just using that as an intro now because we're still in the anniversary-ish mode, you know. So and 24 years is not a joke, especially in these times, you know. So it's been a very interesting journey. But I want to go all the way back to childhood for me, and so my dad was a diplomat. So I have a dual nationality. All of us. I have 4 siblings, or now I have 3 actually, because I lost my immediate older brother about 5 years ago. So all of us were born in different parts of the world, different countries. So I was born in the States. My older brother was born in Kinshasa. Second one was born in Ghana, Accra, and then my sister was born in Hamburg.
So you picked the lucky card. You're
now,
born in the States.
now it makes sense. I mean, then you don't even know what in the world you're doing, you know. So and so we have that, and you know, it's like a whole ripple effect because you don't know the value. You guys know, look, you're born somewhere, and for now, it's a fantastic feeder to my favorite thing to do, and that's travel whenever within my capacity. And I think, as I said, we're the products of the relationships that we immerse ourselves into. So relationships are so key in our lives. It's really important for us. It's not just about growing up. People joke about marriage a lot, okay? But I think marriage is like your is not just about the lovey-dovey, let me take pictures and do a couple goals or whatever. It can make or break you. If you marry the wrong person, like really, I am like one of my husband, if I dream of something, if I even breathe of it, he's like, oh really, is that what you want to do? He finds every possible way, and I'm like, I just mentioned that I didn't ask you to go and try and take down the world, you know. So it's a feeder to like my dreams, and that's why I can express myself the way I want, you know. But not everyone would have that, and so these things are really important. So you really want to be very intentional and conscious about your relationships. Okay, so it's really important. Oh, thank you. Someone is saying happy anniversary. Thanks. Okay, so it's really important for us, you know. So for me, just growing up, a lot of experiences. I've met people from different parts of the world. I love meeting people from different cultures. So when I see things like racism, I've had those kind of experiences when I was younger, and I have like my second book I'm going to be writing is actually looking at that, but in a way that helps you understand the mind of people, where they're coming from to an extent. Sometimes what we call racism may be that people just don't understand. Never met someone like you. They've never seen someone your color
Yeah.
or with your accent, you know. And for us, as Nigerians, for example, sometimes we're not always the best ambassadors. So for me, anywhere I go and I see people misbehaving, and maybe Africans or Nigerians, I never know. Even if I don't stop myself, I find myself going and saying, "Guy, you need to calm down, because I feel that you're representing the whole continent. People already have a bad impression of us, you know. And so I found myself going to people and say, is there any way I can help you? Can you handle it this way instead? Because I just see it as like, listen, you're ruining my rep too. Okay, we're the same color skin. And people, they don't even understand us already in the first place. So these are things that for me, we've traveled. I think the only continent I haven't been to is Australia. So I haven't been to Australia, but I've been to every other continent. Okay, so I went to primary school in South America. You know, I've traveled on my own to Singapore. So travel, I think, is one of the best forms of education. And I always tell parents, when I have parents forums, I always tell them, listen, if you can invest in the expensive schools, please invest in the reasonable ones, but travel locally, even travel within your city. Make it like a tour. Study things. To look at the mountains, look at the roads. There's so much to learn just on the journeys and everything. So I think travel, whether you're going abroad or whatever it is that you're doing, travel is one of the best forms of education that no book, no internet, no dictionary, nothing can teach you. No encyclopedia. You know. So that's been some of the things that have formed a lot of the things that I do. I've even with all that, it's not always glam. Okay, so as I said, people start their stories where I read someone where he said he grew up and his parents abandoned they abandoned him and the sister. He was like a thief, and he was stealing, and then someone found him. I don't have those stories. I wasn't dropped anywhere, but we weren't like necessarily rich. We just happened to live in different parts of the world. And then whenever you come back to your actual base, Nigeria, you know, even as a child growing up then, you come back to Nigeria as if you weren't anywhere. Because when you come back, you're like with the pool. So I always say, listen, I've learned I can abound and abase. You can't really be telling me. I mean, we all like the good life, but when things haven't been good, I found myself being able to adjust well, because that's the kind of life we live then. Once you're abroad and you're a diplomat, you have all this presidential treatment, you know, they're picking you up. And then once you come back after those 3 years, you just land Nigeria, that hot airport is as if, welcome to the pool of, you know, nobody cares. You're going to a local school because you can't afford what they were paying, you know. So for me, I look at people and I'm like, when they say things like, oh my God, I can't come, I'm like, Kilele, who do you think you, like, who do you think you are?
But that's interesting though, because people always look at diplomats and their family with a lot of envy. Yeah, you guys get to travel the world and stuff like that, but you're not seeing from this perspective of, oh, you have to pick up and leave every 4 years or stuff like that.
And it's true, and I think even for like friendships and things, those are some things that probably would have affected. I mean, I have friends, I have people,
I can imagine,
friends and all that, but you finally make a best friend. And I said, then you don't have social media to say, oh, let me check up Tola and keep up with him on Facebook, something like that. So by the time you write letters, before you know it, you're moving somewhere else.
True.
You know, so you find, oh, okay, so you're just like, I just manage friendships. Let me like you small. Then before you know it, you're going somewhere else. So, you know, a lot of these things, your background, your upbringing, they also bring to the fore some of the things that you do in your personal brand, you know. So I think it's really important. Our stories are really integral to what it is that we do. And so as I said, I'm very protective of us as a continent, or I want to say Africa. I don't want to just say Nigeria. I know people that want to say Africa, which is very annoying. Yes, they say it because they don't know the countries. They're too busy to know our countries. But I'm saying it because I feel it encapsulates a lot about us, because you know, so, and we know our identity, we know who we are. Some people don't have that privilege, you know. So as much as we have, you know, dual nationality and those kind of things, central to us, this is where we are from, our core. This is where we're from. I think it's really important if we can actually get more people out there to understand that every time they misbehave or do some nonsense, they're actually affecting the whole, not just the country, but the whole continent.
The whole race.
The whole race.
Your race,
So those are some little things that somewhere in the things that I do, I address them, I talk about them. Even when I was teaching then, the little kids I would teach, I'll be like, you know what, I need to raise you to be a bit more independent. I mean, I'm sure the parents will be like, what is that? You know, I want you to be a bit more independent, you know. It's important you know where you're from. Many kids don't know where they're from, you know. So those kind of things are, I think, some things from my own background, you know. So as I said, as you said, as we also learned, our story is like the foundation of our personal brands, you know. So I love languages, I love tribes. I don't know how people can look at people and say, ooh, you're from this religion or tribe, and you hate them on what ground. I don't understand that at all. I have so many In fact, they've invited me to come and speak to many times to the group of the Islamic schools many times. And I go there, I'm hugging everyone, except if any of them I'm like, oh, okay. I know some of them are like, oh, they don't hug. Some of my male Muslim friends are like, we, for where we are from, we don't hug. We don't hug you and everything. But they're smiling like, hey. Some of them be like, you know what? They're teasing me and say, I'm hugging you in my mind. So I don't see how people can look at others from other tribes or countries. That's for me. That's where I am coming from. So these are things that I would love to pass on to people too, build up these things and maximize them, So I've learned a lot of things just from this journey. Just from this journey of even looking and self-awareness and learning more about who I am. So, and then you mentioned something about loving hip hop. Since when? So do you dance? Now I'm jumping back to you. You said you love hip hop.
Yeah, I do. I actually do.
Hey!
No, I don't dance. I don't dance. I don't dance. No, I'm terrible at dancing. But I actually love hip hop. I've loved hip hop from very young. You understand? And those things are assets. Those things that we cannot control. Those things are assets. Those things that you can't even say, I don't know why I love this thing, but I just love it. And I don't know how long I've been loving it, but I just love it. That's an asset, you see. And for me, I've always kind of hidden my love for hip hop because it's been I've hidden it because I just felt, oh man, it doesn't sound responsible. It doesn't sound good. You see? Yeah. Well, you see, my love for hip hop kind of helped me through university. Like I have two stories. How some things I've loved have really helped me in life. Like my love for hip hop helped me through university. And I'll say this: I studied architecture in Obafemi Awolowo University. Anybody that's been to Obafemi Awolowo University knows that it's not the easiest academic environment. I even feel to an extent they pride themselves in being very hard. You understand? I don't get it, but they pride themselves in being a very hard academic environment. And it was very hard for me. My first year, second year, terrible. You understand? But in my third year, I met a guy, and I was into hip hop music, listening to hip hop music, and he liked it too. And we kind of connected, so we're always talking about hip hop music and stuff. And he was a year ahead of me in architecture. And you see, he saw that I was struggling. And because we had this hip hop connection, he always used to come around to help me. He helped me. And up until my final project, he helped me to write, he helped me to design, he was always guiding me. And I always think about, and till today, we still have a very close relationship. He's in South Africa now, and we still talk, like every month, we still talk. I don't keep in contact with so many people from school, but with him, I still talk with him. And it's still that hip-hop connection that we had then that was the foundation of our relationship. And I think of a second instance where, you see, I love football. I don't love football per se, but I'm a big fan of Manchester United. You understand? Okay. And when I went to Canada for my postgraduate, there was this program where you get to stay with a Canadian family throughout your stay, and they get to give you an orientation and stuff. So I went for that. I didn't want to stay on campus. I wanted to stay with a Canadian family and really get to experience their culture. So there was this family I was assigned to. Just by chance, I was just assigned to them, and I was like the second Nigerian staying with them. Now they had the history of they've taken before me. They are taking about 7 or so other students from all around the world. Yes. But for me, I stayed with them extra longer because they enjoyed staying with me. But the first day I got there, I was like every other student. There was nothing special about me. Yes. Till I know Canadians, they are big on hockey. I don't like hockey. I feel it's incredibly boring. I feel it's 90 minutes too long. You understand? And very violent. But they loved it. And at the point, I kind of asked the man, the father of the house. I said, can I get to watch football? And I said, yeah. And he said, what football team do I like to watch? I said, Manchester United. And his eyes lit up. He was like, he's a Manchester United fan. And I was like, and he said that he has been in Canada for so long, and he hasn't really met anyone who he can connect with that really loves. Because everybody was into Toronto Maple Leafs, they were into the hockey team. And because of that, we formed such a strong bond to the extent that when they came to Nigeria, they stayed with us and stuff like that. We are still in contact today. But it started from something as simple as my love for Manchester United. You see, when the day I took interest in Manchester United, I never knew that it would be an asset. You see, so everything that happens in your life, it's an asset. But a lot of times we hide these assets because we want to be in our minds proper. We want to be proper. We want to fit in.
Whoa.
But those things that are
Uh-huh.
quirks, that we think, oh, nobody should
Yes.
know these things, are the things that really make us light up at the end of the day. You
Yes.
understand? So for me, all those assets, like you being born abroad is an asset. You had no control over it. No control. Your dad being a diplomat, asset, no control. You being from where you are in Nigeria, asset, no control. You
Mm-hmm.
being a woman, asset, no control. You understand? Those things, we really need to lean into them because those are the real treasures. But when we
Yeah.
start to try to edit and cut out those things and hide those things, then we begin to really struggle in life. So you see, I think everyone, like I told you to do during one of our sessions, take time
Yes.
out to write out your assets. Those things
Woo.
that you like, those things that you were given, you were born with. Being a Nigerian is an asset. A lot of people don't understand it. We hate that being a Nigerian and we hide it. You see, it's funny when I see Nigerians and they try to talk with an accent. They're like, oh, I don't sound Nigerian. I try to talk with an accent. And I think of my life, I think of how many people I have connected with just based on the accent.
Yes.
Like my wife knows. I have a thing for Asian people
Yes.
trying to speak English. I
Mm-hmm.
love it. I love to hear that Asian accent come through English. And so you see, there's a preacher I listen to, Joseph Prince.
Oh,
The first
I
time
know
I
about
heard
him.
Joseph Prince,
I've listened to him in a very long time.
yeah,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
it wasn't because he was preaching anything extraordinary. He was preaching good. But not that I've not heard it before. But once I heard that Asian accent
Yes.
trying to come through in English, I was just endeared. I was like, I gotta listen to this guy. You understand? Everything. There are even some things that we think, okay, I'm fat. Okay, I'm fat. Can that be an asset? Yes, it is. You understand? You're thinking to yourself, but I ate myself to this place. And yeah, you did.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
that part of your journey is an asset. It happened for a reason. That you are dealing with it right now is an asset. Tell that story. Someone will connect to you because you're telling that story. Someone will connect
Mm.
to you because you're that size. I
Yes.
think of someone like Rick Warren. I connect with him because he looks like a Papa Bear type kind of preacher. You understand? You see, so he talks about his weight a lot, but
Mm-hmm.
his weight is exactly what I love about him. You see, I'm not a big fan of those preachers that kind of have six packs and kind of looking all,
Too good.
they
Like
kind of intimidate me. So when I listen to Rick Warren and I see him, it seems like my father is talking to me. You understand? It seems like my grandfather. But you
oh.
see, that's something he could be trying to hide. But it's an asset.
Mm.
I connect with him. Someone like Joyce Meyer, she talks
Yeah.
about her story about how she was molested when she was really young.
Yes.
You see,
Yes.
people connect with her on that level. People lean into her on that level. She's a great preacher, but she lean into her on that level.
Yes.
So you
It's
see,
her story. Always her
it's a
story from the
story.
yeah.
So you see,
Yes.
this perception of personal branding being what I need to edit, meaning, okay, I want to be a personal brand. I need to dye my hair red. I need to grow dreads. I need to be the guy that
I'm
always
dyeing
wears
my hair
white.
red. Excuse me. Yes, my hair is always usually
Yeah, yeah,
red. I'm
yeah,
actually dyeing it red this week.
yeah. But you see, the thing is that is a weak connection because
um,
anybody can dye their hair red. Then you
but my
just
hair is
be one
always
of those
red.
people that has, yeah. But you
Yes,
see,
but
but those things that are within you,
uh-huh, uh-huh,
those things that we try to edit are the things that people actually love about us. Everything, there are no mistakes. Like you said something during the course of this, and you're like, oh man, I should have tried out new mascara and my stuff is someone. That's the reason why they love this conversation right now. That you are so real to
yes,
talk
but
about
note
your
to self,
mascara.
don't
You
use this
understand?
mascara again.
Yeah, yeah. You get so you see the assets are already there for us to be personal brands. You have wonderful assets. My question to you right now is how many people have you told this story? The story of
But
how often have you told the story?
um, I think not so often really because I'm normally coming in. It depends on where you're going. If you're going to a place to speak, sometimes you're coming in with your qualifications. Just finished my
Mm,
masters in this, and I had international, I had so, but
the boring stuff.
the boring stuff, yeah. So
The
I think
boring
very few
stuff,
people. I
yeah.
think the people who are my friends know bits and pieces, but maybe not like to the level of maybe not to the level where they know like every single bit. So I think it's actually it's very key because really, as I said, you want to connect, and people just connect with things. You don't even know what it is. It
Mm.
could be anything.
But why? Why haven't you been able to tell that story more often?
Um,
Because it's such a lovely
it
story.
depends. It depends on the platforms. Because some platforms I just started and we had this conversation. I think the next set of podcast episodes I'm recording this week, I'm actually going to do. I'm just going to do a series on my story. So I'm just going to do like not a series. Sorry, 2 episodes just telling my story. So that I'm just telling the story from like in a bit more detail. Yeah. So people who
Yeah.
are my friends and all that, I mean, they do know that. And just the same thing you're saying, it's a personal brand. I mean, I'm a corporate person. Why do you need to know my whole my whole story? Some people know some bits and pieces. Like even from me up till now, some people. Yesterday was very interesting because I use my status once in a while, okay, and that's the WhatsApp status.
Lots of
I don't
service,
use it
yeah.
as often, but what it does is that it shows me people that I didn't even know are on my line. Because it's an anniversary, people were sending me, "Oh, I love your family" or whatever, and I'm like, "Who is it?" Some people, honestly, some people I don't know who they are. I mean, well, I have their names on my phone. I actually have their names, and I'm going, "Who are
Yeah.
these people?" So I don't use the status as much, but when I do, the especially yesterday, the connection from both my phones. Oh, I love this. Oh,
Incredible.
24
Yeah.
years. People I didn't know who they were. So some people were even telling me their own story. Because I put up a post and I said and special shout out to my beautiful in-laws who came with the deal. And so some people started calling me and saying, "Oh my God, you know that I hate my in-laws." I'm like, and I'm like, okay. So but I was like, my in-laws are just like I don't know, they're just super beautiful people. I was watching something yesterday, interestingly, something on Mama Drama. How the woman was really giving the girl grief, like the mother-in-law was giving her grief. So I picked up the phone and I called my mother-in-law and I'm like, I'm just calling to say hi. And, when you appreciate her more. So people really, people just want to connect with humans. Just want to
Yeah,
know that
yeah,
you're
yeah,
human. Yes, just want to know that you're
yeah,
human and all that you're not always the fine. I just finished my master's.
yeah.
I've just done this and whatever it is. Yeah, I mean, there's some days really now you're just not. I mean, people heard that I was ill. I was ill for like two and a half weeks last month, and people are still calling me like, "You were ill? How? Like, what does that mean? Never heard you being ill." I'm like, "Yes, I'm a human being. Don't forget." So they were like, "I've never heard you being ill all these years I've known you." So I think that connection and just even touching on this little
Yeah.
part of the story is really important. And I look forward to more platforms. People have invited me, but now that I think I'm just at that place where I'm ready. I'm really at that place where I'm like, "Oh, my story. Yes, it actually is." I mean, your story is your treasure, really. Your story is your
It's
treasure,
your
and it's
biggest
what
asset.
separates you.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
what
Like
separates
you
you and
said,
makes you unique.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like you just mentioned someone about mentioned talked about someone who said after seeing what you said about your in-laws, the person was like, "Oh, I
Yes.
hate my in-laws." You see, that that's such beautiful vulnerability right there. It's so
Yes.
hard to get because for that person, they felt the need to release that. And you
Yes.
see, that's where interesting conversations come from. When you are
Exactly.
open to be vulnerable, people, you see, I was telling my wife this, that if you want to have really, really great conversations with people, ask them questions that they don't expect without being rude. Ask them
Yes.
questions that they
Yes.
don't expect without you being rude.
Yes.
And be ready for them to give you answers that you don't expect without you being judgmental. And you will be surprised how beautiful the conversation would go. And the
Exactly.
person would actually go to bed thinking about you that night and say, "Oh, I had a real good conversation with this."
Yeah.
But you see, this proper conversations that we have, those are the things that kill connection. You see,
Yes.
now you just say, "Oh, I love my in-laws. They came with, and the
Hmm.
person just came and just told you, "I don't love my in-laws." You understand? I hate my in-laws. You understand? I don't know what your in-laws are drinking, but mine aren't drinking the same thing. But you know, those kind of conversations, those are things that really lead to really deep conversations.
Yes.
And then you and that person can get to talk for an hour.
Yes.
Now, check this out. When the person needs to call somebody that knows about education, guess the person they're going to call first? You.
Exactly.
Do you
Yeah.
understand? They're going to call you. And that's why we're talking about that, having the corporate brand and your personal brand. Have a
Yeah.
corporate brand by all means. You understand?
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
you need a container. Because the truth is that once you build a personal brand and you are able to be as vulnerable as possible with it, I'm
Yes.
not saying vulnerable. I'm not just vulnerable. You're vulnerable because you want to help somebody. So vulnerability could be talking to one person, sharing your story with one person. It doesn't have to be you going on a podcast and telling the whole world. But vulnerability is telling that one person that needs it. You
Yes.
see, it always brings back a blessing.
Yes.
But the blessing needs a container it's going to go into. And that's
Exactly.
why you have your corporate brand there. You understand? Because the person is going to come back and just say, how can we work together? How can we work together? I just want to feel, how can we work
Perfect.
together? You need that line. But people are so zeroed in on just What can I get from this person right now?
Exactly.
You understand? But and that's where we see what I was talking about initially. That personal brand used for financial gain, it's wrong. Some people might not agree with me, but it is wrong. You understand? It is wrong. You build a personal brand to connect, to impact, to improve people's lives.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you do it for. Whether initially or long, that's what you do it for. You understand? This issue of trying to take care of yourself, this issue of trying to take care of yourself is why you are trying to take care of yourself. This issue of you trying to take care of yourself is why you are trying. You understand? If we spend more time just using our assets, because our assets are not given to us for us. You see, look at life. The sun wasn't given to shine on itself. You understand? Trees weren't given fruit to give to themselves. Those assets were given to share with others. It's in sharing with others that you are able to give, that you're able to give to somebody that's able to give back to you. So look at the sun. The sun gives to the tree absorbs everything, it gives fruit, the fruit comes back to us, we eat the fruit. Our waste or animal waste is used to giving back to the tree to grow more. You see, that's how it is. It's an ecosystem. But you see, we are so zeroed in on what's in it for me, what's in for me, So we're not making those deep connections anymore. But until we start to make those deep connections, we will never reach our full potential as people, or even financially. It will never happen. So that's the hardest thing about this. I can tell you right now, the hardest challenge you're going to face building this personal brand is forgetting about yourself. That's going to be the hardest challenge. You have to wake up every morning thinking, I'm going to forget about I'm going to think about who needs there. So a lot of people, and a lot of people come to you and say, I'm not giving this thing out for free. They're just using your head. They're using your head. They're sucking your value and using your head. No, they only use the head of people who don't truly have value. It's just like when you take from the ocean, no matter how many cups you take from the ocean doesn't deplete. It is the ocean. It's only a stagnant water that fears them taking so much from it because it doesn't replenish itself. Look, the more they take from you, the more you grow. Do you understand? So the truth is, your assets are given to be a blessing to the world. Focus on that, and you see yourself building a brand that you could never imagine. I was telling you about, I told you, the first thing is your story. Then you have your tribe. When I started to tell my story, my tribe started to show up. Because when you start telling your story, your tribe are the people that will come and say, I love that story.
Yes.
How can I get to listen to that story again? Yes. Do you have a podcast where I can listen to that story every day when I wake up? That's your tribe. People see themselves in you. Those people that their assets kind of match with yours. They are women, they are Christian, they are born abroad or stuff like that. They kind of align. So everything you're saying, they're like, that's deep. But people that are not in your tribe, everything you're saying, is thousands of them. I don't think she knows what she's saying. You don't want to waste your time with those people because you spend more time defending yourself than actually giving your value. Your tribe, they come with plates. You understand? They're always coming with plates ready to take value from you. And you must serve them. You must serve them. And you see, it's in serving them that you build a tribe. And you see, sometimes we reject our tribe because we look at, my tribe can't pay me. And I did that for a very long time. When I started telling my story, my tribe were designers, struggling designers. And I didn't want struggling designers. I wanted people that were running Fortune 500 companies to be calling me and saying, oh, Tola, how can we pay you this?
Like thousands of them here, like hailing you here.
Yeah, because they follow me where I go. Do you understand? Because there's trust. There's trust. Do you understand? And when I started leaning into that tribe and saying, these are my people. My story is their story. My struggles, their struggles. I can help them the most. They make me a leader. I don't have to try to be a leader. You understand? They've already made me a leader. I have to lean into that. When I started leaning into that, I started getting the audience of people that were people I wanted to connect with strategically. So you see, you and I, we've known each other for how many years now? For quite a while. We've known each other for quite a while. For a very long time. But it was Tola,
like 10 years
design a business card, print our letterhead, print our roll-up banner. You understand? You understand? But now, but you know, I was yearning for a time when I could connect with you on a more personal level. But you see, it never happened till I started embracing my tribe. When I started embracing my tribe, you started noticing, oh, what's going on with this fella? What's happening? What's it doing? Then we're like, let's talk. You see, so I started connecting with you when I started embracing the tribe. You understand what I'm saying? And when I started talking with you, people started contacting me that were not designers. Say, oh, come and talk to us, come and train us, come and do this. And some of them were paid. Do you understand what I'm saying? So just
Yeah.
by leaning into my tribe, strategically, I was finding myself where I wanted to be corporately. You understand what I'm
Ooh.
saying? So one of the biggest hurdles we have is forgetting about ourselves, but it's one of the biggest necessities we would have to
Hmm.
do. At the end of the day, we need to forget about ourselves and just lean into those assets and lean into that tribe.
Man, this is fantastic. In fact, this is going to be the way that I never want this thing to now end, for goodness sake. I'm seeing all the fire and the love, and I hope I took some of the. There's a lot of fire, love, people. Yes, this is my new friend who is over Pro App Design has been really in this EYFS, Catherine, all the way. So we have people from all over who have like put in their comments. I just want to be sure that someone says I think it really boils down to perspective, how we are what's it say now again? How we see ourselves affects how we behave. Yes, 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 of course. How we see ourselves, how we behave, and all that. So I think this has been such a hugely fantastic conversation. And you know, the amazing part, I didn't write down any. I couldn't think of writing any questions. I didn't know where to begin in terms of writing
Yeah,
questions. And we did say it's going to be a conversation, and it's been so
conversation. Yeah,
enriching. In fact, as soon as I get back next, we have to go out and eat amala or something. The
that would be
funny thing is
great. That
that
would be great.
the funny thing about it's I think it's only when I'm abroad that I think of amala. I don't eat amala normally, but if you give me amala now, I will eat it. Right? I will eat it now with a wedu or gwegiri. I don't even care. It's just
I'm like comfort food, man. It's comfort food here.
it's comfort food. I'm telling you. So that's what I'm dreaming of eating. And as soon as I get back and all that. So someone I love this other person. Thank you so much for this. I think I'm going to. I'm going to try and wear these. One someone sent something. Oh, you're such a real person. I'm just meeting you, but I must say, oh, thank you. That's a lovely living mic and all that. So some really, really lovely people here. So in rounding up, as we get ready to round up, you know, we talked about, like we put here, discovering the Apache brand, and with Tola, Alabi, and what you've said is just, as I said, it gets more and more liberating. It gets more and more freeing and expression. And I'm really just visualizing. I mean, normally I don't even like birds. My older son hates birdies. I'm always teasing us. I don't like anything birdie, like even chickens. We don't like near me. If I see a chicken, in fact, now I'm talking about not liking birds. I have to tell this story. My auntie, so growing up, right, for us, because we were living abroad a lot, when we came back to Nigeria for secondary school time, my parents decided, without even telling us, that we're going to school in Ibadan. And so we drive from Lagos. They drop me in this auntie's house. This is my dad's sister. And now I love her to bits, but then I thought she was crazy because we didn't grow up doing all that work. My auntie cannot see you sit down. Like, you can't just sit down. Like now you're talking on how. She'll be like, come and pick up this. Come and wrap it, come and, you know, like, you can't just sit down. So for me, that part of life, I thought she was crazy. But I just realized if I didn't live with her, I don't know what kind of human I would have been. I wouldn't have been able to do one single thing. Because at home, we're a bit pampered. We're a bit spoiled, you know. Yeah, my dad was always, oh, my first daughter, you know, don't let her do anything. I don't want her hands to get, you know. So my auntie, then you can't. So one day she decided that we should learn how to kill chickens. Can you believe this kind of thing? I was like 11 or
Wow.
12. They put us in the room in the BQ, me and my cousins, and then put like 3 or 4 live chickens inside. Hey, God. I locked us inside that room. So, of course, I was screaming my head off, running around this room. Like, ah! I mean, I didn't kill chickens, I couldn't do it. But I think
So who killed the
some of
chicken?
those things, of course I couldn't. I mean, they opened the door. They said, you didn't kill it. It's a liable must stay inside here. I was running, screaming. Chickens are chasing me. I'm chasing the chicken. I'm running around. That was trauma. I think, I mean, those kind of experiences, you can't buy them. I mean, you can't even buy them. But for me, I'm like, I hate these things even more. I already hated these, you know, birds that are flying around me, you know. But coming back to it, really, now you're talking about the bird in the cage, and then that freedom of it, being able to fly. I think that's like a picture I'm going to take in my mind, you know, and I'm gonna get a picture of that somewhere just to have it in front of me, like a bird flying out of a cage, just to signify. And it's like an expression of what it is that we've been talking about, which I think is beautiful. And for anyone who is watching this either later or watching this now, it's an evolving thing. It's not like I'm now like, yay, I'm now a brand. I'm not going to do anything about it. You're evolving. You're discovering more. And for every day, I'm on a lot of program. I'm on a boot camp, a 7-day boot camp also this week with Bankole Williams. And interesting, we're talking about things about the mind and just, creating your own, you being the one in charge of creating your own reality, a lot of kind of things like that. And so everything around me is actually connecting. It's interesting how there's so much connection. There's nothing is too abstract. Nothing is like, oh, this is different from what Tola said. So I really feel that I'm in that point where the Lord is bringing all these things together for me. He's bringing all these things together to just harmonize it and solidify it. So it's a beautiful place to be, in being, in understanding what it is about personal branding. So your personal brand is not you trying to replicate your corporate brand in yourself. It's really about you being able to express yourself and make that connection. But I think some people will probably, again, also probably be wondering and saying, I'm an introvert, I beg, I don't want all this. And many people say that. In fact, of course, even that people, someone like my husband too, he's always like, whoa, let's leave me out of anything, social media. If he had his thing, just block his face. Like, don't put his face on anything and all that. So what if people like that who are like, you know what, I'm not even, I don't care. I don't need anyone to know who I am. Just don't even know me. Just leave me out of it. That is also allowed. Because everyone can, yes, not everyone wants to come out and be like, you know what, I'm a human being. I don't really care. Just connect with my business and enjoy it. So it's not really by, because
the thing is,
and
the thing is, it's not about how many.
Okay.
It's about getting to share it. So you see, when people talk about being introverted, I'm to a very large extent introverted.
Yes.
Do you understand? I'm introverted, and that's why it's not about having 100,000 people knowing your story.
Yes.
But you know what? Before you leave this earth, someone must know your story.
Someone at least.
Someone must know it. It starts with somebody. You cannot be introverted. If you're introverted to the point whereby you are so alone and you're not sharing those assets with anybody, then that's the problem. That's not you being an introvert anymore. That's just selfishness. Do you understand?
Wow.
That's selfishness. It's not introvert. You're not being introverted anymore. You understand? You must be able to share that. Someone must know. Someone must know. It's a gift. Do you understand? You must share it with somebody.
Wow.
Someone was saying had a question.
Someone, sorry?
So someone was saying, please, question to Mr. Tola.
Okay.
You have a question?
Yes, please put the question. This would be so nice if people can actually speak.
Yeah.
On this I'm sure they will do that soon, right? They will soon add that one and do it soon.
Oh yeah, that would be so cool. I think that would be great.
I mean, it'd be crazy, but it'd be really great. I mean, eventually we'll probably have I think I'm supposed to do something. I can't remember this week or next week where I have people just popping in. I'm doing a conversation on couples and business, I think, or something. One of this. So I thought it'd be nice to have people pop in once in a while and just give them. Let me see.
That'd be great.
If they come up with their question, if they type it, then we would do that. If not, we're getting ready soon.
Just move on.
To round up. So my takeaways, and I hopefully I'm able to capture them in the blurb I'm going to write under this video. For me, I think one of the things we said about the personal brand was, what was the first thing we said? Yes, my story, your tribe, and your platform, the medium.
Yes, your platform, medium.
Platform you're using for that. And I think most people now are probably there. Okay, someone has put the question. Can you see that part of the question there, right?
Yeah, I can see it says, which stage is best stage to build your personal brand? Your passion stage, your purpose stage, or your calling stage? Now, this one has been following me for quite a while because it's still all these stages. Yeah, but what stage is best to build your personal brand? Well, yes, the now stage. That's the truth. You see, we try to wait for when it's convenient, but it's never convenient. We try to wait for when we are comfortable, but we're never 100% comfortable. You see, when you start to get those hints of people asking, you understand, people coming to you, then those are hints. People are asking you, I'm having this issue, and those things kind of seem off point, just like with you now. Someone coming to you and just saying, "MM, can I talk to you? I just have this issue with this." And you're like, okay, this has nothing to do with education and stuff. But that person is sent to you as a trigger to say, MM, there's more demanded of you now. There's more to you. You need to start expressing now. Those things start coming in. And that's what I tell people. I'm like, people say, wow, when should I start? When should I start? I'm like, when you start getting those hints, they start coming. It's not about you. It's not about when you're comfortable. It's when you start getting the hints.
Yes.
You see, when I started getting hints about starting my YouTube channel, and my own hint was my wife. She was on my neck on it, and oh, start this thing, start this thing. I'm like, I don't like the way I look on camera. I don't like the way I sound. I'm very camera shy. And the house, I don't know what angle is good. When we get a better place, where it's more beautiful. But the hints were there already. I had to obey. You understand? And so I'll say, for you asking me right now, it might be something that's trickling. Just say, oh man, you just need to start sharing those stories and
Yes.
start being vulnerable and start looking for that tribe and start looking for that medium where you best express yourself. That
Yes.
is when you start. That's when you start.
I think that's fantastic, and I think like I think for me again, it's been a while. I've been talking about this personal brand, personal brand. I should get this done. I should get this done. I should get this done. You know, and I'm sure maybe the trigger would have probably been, or not even inspiration, apart from this beginning of the year. So my mom died actually end of February, and the burial was last month. You know, but I don't know whether that was a bit more of a push or a trigger, because you now get to a point where so my dad is
Mm,
like 15 years ago, and then your mom. So as much as you know who you are now, you know how you're no longer, oh, just Lucy's door, Lucy's late, Joe, that's my parents, you know, like this one is late. So even though you're not really tied to that, but part of your identity is like, okay, I used to be, you know, you guys kids, now you're not
mm,
there anymore, you know. So even though, I mean, they still live on and those kind of things, you know, but I think and it goes beyond that. It really goes beyond that. So I think there's no better time than now. And it's just really to start.
mm.
It's just really to start. I was spoken about when you spoke about YouTube. I'm like, I don't have the energy for YouTube doing all those editing, but I have a lot of. I
Yeah.
love doing videos. So as I said, my
Mm,
kids, their assignment this summer is to teach me how to do videos on TikTok, because they're easy to share. And I already have a
yeah.
TikTok channel, so I'm probably gonna do that. I
Yeah.
don't have to be doing any editing and things. So if I
Yeah,
can
yeah,
get
yeah.
that, I
So,
mean,
so just lean into that medium that's comfortable, because a lot of people kind of
yes,
ask that question. What medium is best to connect? There's
yes,
no medium that is just the one that's more comfortable for you. And
yes.
we're in such a beautiful place in the world today where there are so many mediums
So
to
many,
connect.
so many. Yeah.
If you want to write, use Medium. If
Yes.
you want to do podcasts, use there's
Yes.
Spotify and there's
Yeah.
Anchor. If you
Yeah.
like videos, there's YouTube, there's TikTok.
And
If
speaking
there's
platforms.
a
Yeah.
medium for you, and you
Yeah.
can just find your own place of peace.
Fantastic. And all that. So for everyone out there, so we have those our 3 points. I'm going to type them in the chat area when I'm done with this. And then we also have, so as I said, your story, everyone's story, your story is powerful. There's so many people that have stories. The lady that braids my hair here in the UK, she her name sounded like a Yoruba name when I first met her. She's black. And when she came to the house to do my hair one, I said, where are you from actually? So she's from Liberia. I'm like, oh, okay. And she told me her story that, you know, when they were having that whole war, her parents were killed, two of her siblings. So she was
Wow,
brought here as a refugee. I'm like, huh? I
that's
mean, totally
ridiculous.
changed my whole perspective, because, you know, we've been doing my hair since.
Mm,
I'm like, what's in the way? I was like, wait, stop, hold on, what? And I'm
mm,
looking at her,
mm.
like, doing my hair. I'm like, tell me this story again. I beg, just stop what you're doing. And we talked. And so now, I mean, she's getting married. She has a bridal shower next week. I'm going to go there because I mean, we talk a bit, and I have things to
There's a
do, but
connection.
yes,
Mm,
I told her I would come. I would actually come, and I would spend the spend the day in that area and all that. You know, so people
mm.
really have stories. You can't just look at people and just say, ah, well, beg, what's this one? You know, everyone's story, and there's a reason why they're brought into your life. You know, so someone is people have been so sweet. I love all the comments. Okay, yeah, someone is saying, okay, yeah, no need to edit. Yes, no need to edit and all that. We're not even doing all that one. So Tola, I never, honestly, I can't wait to get back. Either you're coming here, or I'm shipping you here, or I'm coming, whichever one. But we need to continue this. You've really sparked a lot in in this, and we've made it happen. And while I think Rotimi is still here. Rotimi, as I said, is someone I don't know whether you've met him. Someone I'd really like to meet one day. You guys
Yeah.
are good friends. Today is his birthday. I tease him
Oh,
and
great.
I call him my
Happy
cousin
birthday.
because I call him my cousin because I'm like, by force he must be in our lives. So I'm like, I've adopted him as a cousin too. So I just want to say a big thank you to you for taking out time this morning, and then the wonderful people who have joined in. You guys are amazing. When I was saying 11 a.m., I'm like, people are gonna be going somewhere at 11. Like they have lives to live. Why are we doing 11 a.m.? You know, it's actually been very good in terms of even the quiet. Because normally out here they probably have the garbage trucks and a lot
Yeah,
more
yeah,
noise.
yeah,
So it's actually
yeah,
quite
yeah.
peaceful. So huge thank you to you, Tola. When we see next, we're going to be exchanging music. I like after our Nigerian music. I'm so proud of our Nigerian artists and the way everywhere in the world People
Yeah.
want to connect with you because of, that. So I love our Nigerian music. I'm a believer. I listen to a lot of music. I listen to all sorts of music. I mean, except for the ones that go too overboard with the swearing.
Mm.
Yes, but I listen to words. I love beats, and all that. So these are things that I think are that's important. So to everyone who has joined us, I hope and I want to believe that. And even if not, I won't say I hope. I know rather that you have gained something, one, two, three things that will help you also tell your story and use it to also build up your personal brand. And so those of you, just keep on watching this page. Those of you following, and those of you started following, thank you for following my page. We're going to be doing a lot of stuff this month. I'm taking you on the journey. I'm doing a bit of little trips. I might just take you along while I'm at it and share some different things. And I have 1 or 2 days when I'm going to be doing some live sessions where I will have people just pop in and join as guests for 2 minutes and then pop out and others can join in. So that's something we might be doing during the week or during the month or during the next few months. Okay. So of course my rule and law, whenever we're doing an Instagram live, I always say number one rule, don't join naked. Make sure you're not in the toilet when you're joining because it's a video. Okay. Okay, so make sure you don't do this. And Tola, thank you so much. I wish I
Thank you
was
for
there now
having
to
me.
now give you all this big hugs to everyone, to the kids also. Thank you for this
Thank you
amazing,
very much.
amazing time. This is more than I even imagined. I had no idea what direction this would go. So do you want to say bye to anyone before we round up?
Yeah, just thanks. I'll thank everyone for joining. Thank you very much for joining. My designer tribe, thank you for joining. Yeah, they're always there. They're always there to support. So that's great.
Designer tribe. You see, now I want to now be. I want to be a designer. I want to be a designer too. Now let me see which song. Okay, let's play a bit of a fast song just because it's I know Tola won't dance to this. I like this song. I'm going to play a song to sign us. Thank you very much, Success Pal, for that lovely this thing. Someone else says, oh, thank you so much. Thank you for that, for your time. So I'm going to play this song. I like it. I don't know why. It's called God No Go Shame Us. I like the beat. I know you were
Okay,
ready
who
before.
sang this?
Prince Emmanuel. I think the words are really funny and the beat is really good. So thank you so much.
Never heard it before. All right, then.
Thank you very much. Okay, so bye.